What if the grocery store held the secret to living a decade longer? Scientists have spent years studying the world's longest living populations, from the mountains of Sardinia to the islands of Japan. And they all have one thing in common: what they eat. Today, I'm revealing the 10 foods that are scientifically proven to add years, maybe even a decade into your life. Number 7 might surprise you. Before we dive in, make sure you watch until the end, because the last food on this list is the one most Americans completely overlook, yet it's consumed daily by people who routinely live past 100. Number 1. Extra virgin olive oil. In the Mediterranean region, where people consistently live into their 90s, olive oil isn't just a condiment, it's a daily ritual. A landmark study published in the New England Journal of Medicine found that people who consumed at least 4 tablespoons of olive oil daily had a 30% lower risk of cardiovascular disease. The secret is oleocanthal, a natural compound that fights inflammation at the cellular level, the same inflammation that drives aging, Alzheimer's, and cancer. The key word is extra virgin. Regular olive oil doesn't carry the same benefits. Number 2. Blueberries. Don't let their small size fool you. Blueberries are one of the most antioxidant-dense foods on the planet. Harvard researchers followed over 16,000 women for nearly 2 decades and found that those who ate blueberries at least twice a week had brains that were up to 2.5 years younger than those who didn't. That's not a typo. The compounds responsible, called anthocyanins, protect your neurons from oxidative stress, which is one of the primary drivers of cognitive decline. Just half a cup a day is enough to start seeing benefits. Number 3. Wild-caught salmon. Your telomeres, the protective caps on your DNA, shrink every time your cells divide. When they're gone, the cell dies. That's aging at its most fundamental level. Omega-3 fatty acids, found abundantly in wild-caught salmon, have been shown in multiple studies to slow telomere shortening. A study in JAMA found that patients with heart disease who had the highest omega-3 levels lived an average of 5 years longer than those with the lowest levels. Aim for 2 servings a week and always choose wild-caught over farmed for maximum nutrient density. Number 4. Broccoli. Specifically, the compound sulforaphane found in broccoli has become one of the most studied molecules in longevity research. It activates a pathway in your body called NRF2, essentially your body's internal antioxidant defense system. Studies at Johns Hopkins University show sulforaphane may reduce cancer risk, protect the brain, and reduce arterial inflammation. The trick? Chop or chew your broccoli and let it sit for 5 minutes before cooking. This activates the enzyme that produces sulforaphane. Most people skip this step and lose up to 70% of the benefit. Number 5. Legumes, beans, lentils, chickpeas. Dan Buettner, the researcher behind the Blue Zones project, identified legumes as the single most common food across all 5 of the world's longest living populations. People in Sardinia eat chickpeas. Okinawans eat tofu and soybeans. Seventh-day Adventists in Loma Linda, California, eat lentils. The data is overwhelming. A study across 5 countries found that every 20 grams of legumes consumed daily, roughly 2 tablespoons, corresponded to an 8% reduction in mortality risk. They're also cheap. There's no excuse not to eat them. Number 6. Green tea. Japan has the highest concentration of centenarians on Earth, and green tea is consumed multiple times daily by virtually every one of them. The active compound EGCG, Epigallocatechin gallate, is one of the most powerful antioxidants ever studied. A large Japanese study of over 40,000 people found that drinking 5 or more cups of green tea per day was associated with a 12% lower mortality rate in men and 23% lower in women. It also reduces LDL cholesterol, lowers blood pressure, and has been shown to inhibit the growth of cancer cells in lab studies. If you're still drinking coffee as your only morning beverage, consider swapping at least 1 cup. Number 7. The one I promised would surprise you. Garlic. Yes, plain garlic. Listen, the compound released when you crush or chop garlic has been studied extensively for its cardiovascular benefits. A meta-analysis of 39 clinical trials found garlic supplementation significantly reduced both systolic and diastolic blood pressure, comparable in some cases to prescription medication. High blood pressure is the single biggest controllable risk factor for early death in America. One study in the Journal of Nutrition found populations with high garlic consumption had dramatically lower rates of stomach and colorectal cancer. Let crushed garlic sit for 10 minutes before cooking to maximize allicin production. Number 8. Walnuts. It's not a coincidence that walnuts look like tiny brains. They're one of the best foods you can eat for brain longevity. Walnuts are uniquely high in ALA omega-3s, polyphenols, and vitamin E. A study from Harvard's T.H. Chan School of Public Health found that people who ate walnuts at least 5 times per week had a 14% lower risk of dying from any cause compared to non-walnut eaters. That's remarkable for a single food. They also reduce inflammation markers like CRP, which is associated with nearly every age-related disease. 1 ounce, about a small handful per day, is all it takes. Number 9. Tomatoes, specifically cooked tomatoes. Tomatoes are rich in lycopene, a carotenoid antioxidant that becomes significantly more bioavailable when cooked with a small amount of fat. This is why traditional Italian and Spanish cuisines, which feature slow-cooked tomato sauces with olive oil, are associated with dramatically lower rates of prostate cancer and cardiovascular disease. A Harvard study found that men who ate tomato sauce 2 or more times per week had a 23% lower risk of prostate cancer. Lycopene has also been shown to protect skin cells from UV damage, essentially acting as internal sunscreen that slows visible aging. Number 10, and arguably the most enjoyable, dark chocolate. The Kuna people of Panama, who drink several cups of flavonoid-rich cacao daily, have remarkably low rates of heart disease, stroke, and cancer, despite eating similar calories to Western populations. Researchers traced this directly to their cacao consumption. Flavonols in dark chocolate improve nitric oxide production, which relaxes blood vessels and lowers blood pressure. A European study of over 20,000 participants found that those who ate the most chocolate had a 12% lower risk of cardiovascular events. The key: 70% cacao or higher, and no more than 1 to 2 squares daily. It's a longevity food, not a license to eat an entire bar. So there you have it. 10 foods, backed by real science, that can add years to your life. The good news? You don't need all 10 at once. Start with just 3. Pick olive oil, blueberries, and walnuts. Add them to your routine this week and build from there. If you found this useful, subscribe, because next week we're covering the 7 daily habits of people who live past 100. And comment below, which of these foods are you already eating? I'll see you in the next one.